Hello, and welcome to Chess Book Reviews 158. I've had terrible problems with the computer today. I do apologize. No wonder I needed a drink. I've got 3 books to show you, which continues on from our other Soltis outpourings. This must be one of the premier books that he's ever written. Tal, Petrosian, Spassky, and Korchnoi. I mean, if the devil could cast his net, eh? Basically, this is, like so many of Soltis's books, it's fairly scholarly, but it's also fairly mild. He doesn't go in for, claiming that Kasparov, ruled the world, or that Karpov smashed the world, or someone was a terrible cheat. He gets on with talking about the games, their lives, and the tournaments, and I think that's the best way to do it, really. 382 pages. It's beautifully bound. It says private lives, public games. Let me just show you, as I always do, format. There we are. Algebraic notation. And games from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. Obviously, being Russian, they had a very tough school surrounding them. Very tough school indeed. Talking about candidacy, in other words, I know where you're going to get to the World Championships. Whether in fact there was a political agenda for some, for all, for most, I don't know. Nice to see them using the ECO codes, what I call wrapper index. There we are. So you've got a very decent index, which is useful, isn't it? I mean, you do need that. Detailed bibliography, 3 pages of it. Soltis, who's a very great linguist, is able to bring into English talking about handing over to Kasparov and Karpov. Chapter 13, whose risk is riskier? I think they were all cacking their pants because of Bobby Fischer, weren't they? It was Spassky who led the charge. We now stay with Soviet matters. A book I've loved all my life. I really do love it. The Younger School of Soviet Chess, published by Bell. Nearly 50 years ago, I remember just after I left school, I went up to London and I treated myself to this book. And I like it then, and I like it now. It deals, each chapter deals with a young Soviet player, Takmakov. I'll try and list them all to you. Kuzmin. Balashov. Karpov, of course. Kasparov wasn't even thought of in those days. Vanyan, Vaganian, and so on. Belyavsky. If you look at the detailed coverage, this is it talks about the problems that they encountered when players like Botvinnik and Tau were getting old and trying to bring on other players such as Galko, Razovayev, Cheshkovsky, Romanishin, of course. They call it the reserves. Call up the reserves. There we are. It's a lovely book. If you see it, get it. The last is a very recent book. This is Andrew Soltis himself talking about himself. And there he is. This is the autobiography of chess grandmaster and journalist Andy Soltis, one of the very few grandmasters who had a professional career outside of the game and a prolific author of chess-related non-fiction. That's certainly true, otherwise I wouldn't be able to present them all to you now, would I? And there's others to come too. Whether I find them or present them, I don't know, but there's lots more. What you have to do is draw up a list. Here he is, en famille. He deals with getting married or writing his articles. And here he is playing Anand. What a good photograph, actually. I like that. And here's the bearded gentleman in the specs. I like it very much. Here's John Fedorowicz. Appears to have taken leave of his senses, which after a serious game of chess is a damn good idea with Teddy. He calls it bearing up. So it's a play on words. Here he is playing against Westerinen. That sturdy Grandmaster that everybody liked to play against. Somebody said to me once that Westerinen was once a strong player, and I said, no. He was. He won a marvellous game at Slingen 1973 against Spassky. He was black in a mainline Lopez against Spassky. You try winning that. And he did. Here he is playing Larry Christensen. From Cleveland 1975. The US was still recovering from the absence of Bobby Fischer. And the sadness is that we still miss him, don't we, now? He's been gone many years. The Soltis playing Gligorich. You couldn't get a tougher opponent than Gligorich. Here's a player I've never heard of, Mr. Lyman. Broadcasting on television. No, Mr. Lyman at all. I must do some homework. Here's someone I do know, Mr. Ken Smith, who was a publisher, also very keen on cards, gambling. Playing the Smith-Morra Gambit, 2d4 against the Sicilian. You knew that. Here's Ruth Cardoso with Benko. I think Ruth had quite a few boyfriends at high level, including Smyslov. There's Mr. Walter Goldman. I know his name attached to tournaments, but I'd never seen a photo of him. And he, possibly like me, was a books man rather than a one-on-one player. In other words, behind the scenes. There's a game played in 1964. Another 64. And there we are. And here he is as a 12-year-old, and he was nicknamed the Skip. Andrew Skip. You get lots of biographical information, not all of it chess related, but I find that refreshing. Well, there's a supplemental 12158. If you want more books by Soltis, go to Chess Book Reviews 158. This has been Chess Book Reviews 159. Please like and subscribe. Very important. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.